Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator news and updates. And boy, do we have some really awesome stuff to showcase today, so stick around to find out more. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below. All right, guys, so first up, AzurePly, the guys who released the C160 Transall, have released an update. We haven't heard from them in quite a while. Now, this was a pretty fantastic aircraft right from its launch. I've always been pretty impressed with it. It was a fun aircraft to fly, worked very well in VR right from day one, which is shocking because that's pretty rare for a lot of releases. Usually VR is probably the most broken thing that you can do here. But let's talk about some of the big changes they've made here. So new condition lever logic with remaining bugs fixed. There were a ton of issues with the condition lever in the past on this particular aircraft, so it's nice to see that's been addressed. Increased elevator trim range for autopilot, a new smooth wiper animation, not really a big deal to me, but this one I do like. More realistic APU start and stop sequence, so that's going to increase the immersion, obviously, on the performance of the aircraft. Fixed incorrect distance to DME station, that was one that I noticed. So if you are using any kind of, for example, a VOR localizer or anything like that, the distance that it was reporting back to you was very often incorrect, which, as you guys can imagine, would cause some pretty significant issues there. Improved the autopilot control, basically making it more stable and much more smooth and accurate to what you'd expect in a real aircraft. Fixed issues with waypoint deletion during flight. Basically what happens is your waypoints would randomly either delete or you would attempt to delete one, and there was an issue where they wouldn't delete at all. So it really depends on what the issue was that was happening, but there were quite a few problems there with that particular section there. And then the only other one that caught mine, let's see here. Oh, allow 3-character airport codes in the FMS. Now, there's a ton more, you guys. If you guys go to their website for the AzurePly C160 Transall, you can get the full changelog, but these were the biggest ones that definitely stood out to me as I was reading through it. This is a very, very cool aircraft. If you guys like things like the ATR or the Dash 7, I highly recommend you pick this one up too. It's got a much older cockpit in it. It's not, all glass cockpit. It's very old-fashioned, again, much in line with the Dash 7 and the ATR. So if those aircraft really spike your interest, I do recommend the Transall, as you will enjoy it as well. Now getting on to the Flying Fries XF11. This aircraft is available exclusively on FlightSim.to, and this is quite an interesting plane. Counter-rotating propellers, or how is it? Dual counter-rotating propellers. So each engine has essentially two propellers, much like the T160, the Tupolev. And so this aircraft was an incredibly fast plane for its time. Unfortunately, there were only ever 2 prototypes that were ever built of this particular plane, and one of them crashed on the initial test. Hughes himself was flying the aircraft when it went down. This aircraft was supposed to be a spy plane or reconnaissance aircraft, if you will. It was following World War II. I believe it came out at the very end of it is when it was really coming out of development. Really goofy looking plane. You can definitely see the resemblance to that of the P-38 Lightning, but as you can see, it has a much larger wing base. It also has a camera up in the nose of it. Again, it was designed as to be a very fast, very high flying reconnaissance aircraft. Sort of same principle as what like the U-2 is. Obviously not anywhere near as high, but definitely for its time. That's why it has the very large wings and the dual rotating propellers. Again, it was very fast. I believe it came out right around 500 miles an hour, maybe a little less, give or take. I'd have to go back and do some research on it. But as you guys can see here, they've definitely saved or spared no expense here. They put a lot of effort into this aircraft. It's certainly a goofy looking plane. On one hand, this aircraft gives me like such mixed feelings, because on one hand, it's like, wow, this is a really cool looking plane. And on the other hand, it's like, wow, this is a really ugly looking plane. Like I just can't get it together and decide where I'm at with this plane, even in the real world. So, but very, very cool, you guys. And remember, it is available exclusively on FlightSim.to. So if you guys are interested in picking that aircraft up, head on over there and try it out. We will be trying this one out on the channel because it's just one I gotta know. That's basically what it is. It's not no other reason than I have to know. So let me know what you guys think of the Flying Fries XF11. Next up, Flight Sim Studio a while back released the P2006, and this was the lightest twin engine rated aircraft, I believe, currently in existence. Don't necessarily quote me on that, but I believe that is correct, that it is the lightest twin engine rated aircraft currently in existence. This aircraft is a really, really cool plane. Flight Sim Studios did an absolutely amazing job with the initial release. It was an all-glass cockpit using the G1000 suite, and now they have released the P2006 Tango, which, as you guys can see, is running on analog steam gauge, if you will. This is more my style of aircraft. The P2006 was an absolutely amazing plane. They did a wonderful job. Certainly trying to keep up with, I think everybody, honestly, right now is trying to keep up with the Kamanche in relationships to the checklists and the walkarounds and things like that. And they did a great job with this one as well, following suit. The walk around is really, really cool. Not quite to the point where we saw with A2A, but definitely, again, a lot of effort and thought was put into the process. The aircraft itself looks very, very well done. There's some texturing and modeling things in some of these screenshots that I'm a little wondering, kind of like here, for example, if you look at the fuel control valves there, they're just a little flattened out, and I can't decide if that's just the screenshot, maybe it was the resolution that it was taken at, or what's going on there, but some of it looks a little drawn out and dwery, if you will. But I will tell you that my experience with the Tecnam P2006 is an absolutely fun one. I will still be picking this one up as well. Like I said, the analog gauges is right in my line of interest. I really enjoy flying analog gauges. I think that's what, as cool as it is, and just in general, but I think that was my biggest draw to things like the TBM 850 and then the Chancellor 414 and the Cessna 310 is just those more realistic, or the Kamanche, for example, is just the more realistic analog gauge aircraft. For so long in Microsoft Flight Simulator the first year, and I get it, it's the time, and it's the time of it's the thing of the future. It is the way. But having the glass cockpits. But for me, I like the nostalgia. I like the old steam gauges. I really do, and learning how to figure them all out and navigate through them. So if you guys are interested, this aircraft is also ready for pickup. If you guys want to head on over there and grab the aircraft, I will have a link to the purchase site down in the description below if you guys are interested. Next up, cows have finally made their debut with the release of their Diamond Da42 TwinStar. The Da42 TwinStar, as you guys know, has already been around in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but nowhere near to the caliber or capacity, if you will, that or quality even, that cows have done. Now, you guys all remember, I'm sure, that there was a mod developer that was updating the Da42, and I can't remember what the other one was now, but it was the other DA. Where he was doing a freeware modification to the aircraft that made it definitely far better than what the default version is. But now cows have taken the lead on this one, taken control, taken the helm, and really released something quite amazing. This aircraft comes fully featured with a number of different options. There are multiple variants of the aircraft, and this one that they're using is the Da42 Victor India and the TDI variant. They have done an amazing job with this aircraft, doing everything from high quality and quote-unquote faithful exterior as well as interior modeling. The textures feature highly detailed photorealistic with light-baked reflections. You have the option to simulate light, medium, or heavy wear and tear. You have the option to do state-saving engine failures, and random failures will be something that come on later down the road. Fully modeled circuitry and circuit breakers. They've taken it, you guys. They've taken it all the way up to the top like we expect. Everything also, they've also added things like such as airframe shake during ground power runs and small but noticeable bumps when dropping the landing gear or decelerating on touchdown. So really, really cool stuff that they've done here, you guys. The modeling looks absolutely beautiful. They've done a wonderful job with this. We've heard about this aircraft coming for quite some time now, so it's nice to finally see it in action here. This has been a really, really cool one to see. Now, the one thing that I will say is this aircraft's rolling in at $30 US about that you can pick up from Orbix Direct if you guys are interested in grabbing this one. It's 46.25 Australian and right around $30 US. The aircraft is absolutely beautiful. One of the things I really enjoy about these particular planes is that they are center stick flown, so much like you would see in a fighter, but in obviously a GA aircraft. They come with all the new modern avionics suites. I know I just got done saying how I'm usually turned off by these, but again, there are limitations to everything as far as how far I will and will not go. And when you have an aircraft that's been given this kind of attention, curiosity kills the cat. I have to try it. I've never been a big fan of the DAs, and that's nothing against the aircraft themselves. I know a lot about them. They're a phenomenal aircraft. It's just one of those ones like, Microsoft Flight Simulator, they were cool. And again, there was plenty of freeware mods that made the aircraft quite amazing, but this is definitely one. It was a DA60, I think it was the other one. But this one, I definitely want to try it out. Okay, it's going to be hard to decide which ones I pick first, but we're going to get there. Anyways, so once again, you guys, Orbix Direct, you guys can find this one, and it will be coming to the Microsoft Marketplace in the future, so Xbox users, fret not. All right. Next up, we have a great announcement from A2A Simulations in regard to the Kamanche 250. So first off, you Xbox users, the Kamanche has arrived, as well as multiple other updates to the aircraft, but some of the more highlighted ones to discuss here would be the fix the overstress crash which would occur if view was switched to the outside camera following an apron start with cockpit persistence switched off. Improved engine physics, so very high temperature can cause a more rapid cylinder wall deterioration. So remember, the A2A Kamanche simulates failures, wear and tear, as well as state saving. So this all comes into play here. Improved integrity of cabin against air leaks to allow for a more efficient heating. Again, referencing the situations of failures, overheating, cooling, freezing, things of that nature. So obviously that's a big fix. Fixed cabin vent bug, which caused vents not to exchange air properly. There we go, talking about the managing your temperatures. Fixed an issue which caused vents to pick up too much ambient wind around the ground. And then improved magnetophysics, so badly worn mags will generally perform worse, and added new localizations for aircraft descriptions. And obviously the changelog is quite a bit bigger than that, but again, the big announcement there is for Xbox users, the A2A Kamanche is finally available to you guys if you have been longing for this beautiful bird. There are a lot of mixed emotions about the A2A Simulations Kamanche 250, and a lot of people say that it's garbage, they can't fly it, blah, blah. I don't have that situation. I think it's an absolutely phenomenal aircraft, very, very well modeled. Now, it has been years since I've actually flown a real aircraft. My dad used to have his pilot's license, and we used to go around flying Cessna 172s, 182s, Cherokees, and had a great time with it. And so from what I can recall, the Cherokee was the only one that we ever flew, I believe, that I recall that was low wing. Actually, that's not true. I think we flew a DA40, the Katana, I think is what that one was. But those were the only two low wings that I remember flying. And I do remember the Cherokee was very similar to what we see here with the Kamanche 250. So they've really done a great job with it, you guys. It is a phenomenal aircraft. If you guys are interested in picking up an aircraft that will absolutely keep you on toes, you have to follow the checklist. You have to do your pre-flights. You have to make sure that you shut down at the end of the day, especially with, or at least if you have state saving and persistent recordings enabled. So the really cool thing about persistent recordings too, you guys, is if you fly, is it saves it by the livery. So if you fly one livery one time and another livery the other time, those two are going to be left in a different situation. If you leave the livery one here, or maybe this one on the screen, 901 Papa, and you leave it and you've landed, you're on the taxi ramp, and you're like, I don't feel like shutting it down. You just shut it off, right? And you close the sim, but then you fly another livery and you do the full shutdown. When you go back to flight November 1 Papa, it's still going to be engines running however you left it before, where the other one will be back in the cold and dark state. So it's really slick system that they've done here. They've really thought about quite a few different features that were outside of the use for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Again, I can't stress enough, my personal opinion on this aircraft is it is absolutely phenomenal. I purchased it with my own money, so don't think that I was paid to say that. I grabbed this aircraft the day it came out, and I have loved it every single time that I've flown it. Finally, for those who are interested in the Flight Sim Expo 2024, that is going to be in Viva Las Vegas. That is still confirmed. As you guys know, that it was may or may not know, I should say, it was initially scheduled to be at the Tropicana. However, Tropicana has reported that in late April, it will be closing its doors for demolition. The airport, I believe, airport, you guys can tell it's on my mind. The hotel is, I believe, being replaced by a different one. Hopefully something brand new and pretty is being put in its place. But fret not. Once we heard about that, the team over at FS Expo did work very, very diligently and were able to put together, it sounds like, a new venue, which normally was a 4 to 6 month process, and they've managed to, sounds like, put pretty much all the pieces together in right around 3 weeks. But it is confirmed the dates have stayed the same, June 21st through the 23rd in Las Vegas, Nevada. And so I believe, from what I have heard so far, is the venue is not going to be on the Strip any longer, but it's going to be, I believe, between 3 and 5 minutes from the Strip. I do not want to say where it is yet because it has not been confirmed. I know the 2 places they were looking at, but I don't want to speak out in case that has changed as well. So I am going to be there, you guys. Overkill Simulations will be returning to the Expo. We were at Flight Sim Expo 2023. I had an absolutely wonderful time. It was so freaking cool meeting all of you guys. I will give you guys the warning that soon my advertisements and promotion of the Expo will begin. Got to probably about another month or 2 yet before I really start pounding it, but I really hope to save you guys some money with my discount code. No, I didn't get any, special treatment or anything like that. It's just I really want you guys to be there. It was a neat experience. It was the first. So last year was the second time that I've ever attended. Ironically enough, the first one I ever attended was about 4 years prior in Las Vegas, and I believe it was at the Flamingo, if memory serves. And I really wish that they could have gotten on the Strip, but I get it, especially with last minute notice. Like, the odds of that are just like none, especially during summer where everyone's on summer vacation, school's out, etc., colleges are out. Like, yeah, it's probably impossible. Anyway, it's been an absolutely great time. But last year was the first year I got to go as the YouTube channel, if you will. And it was so cool. It was such a humbling and fun experience watching people go, "Overkill? Are you Overkill?" I had one guy walk up to me and go, can you just talk? And I can't remember what it was. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Somebody walked up and asked me to say that. Like, can you do me a favor? Can you say, welcome back to another episode of, and I just literally cut him off and I went, welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. He's like, "Overkill." It was such a freaking cool experience. Anyways, I digress. I went on a tangent, but it really was a super, super fun time to be with like-minded people. Guys, if you are heavy into this flight simulation, if you truly enjoy it and you've never been to an expo, I recommend you go at least once, if for nothing else than the social aspect. You would not believe how many like-minded folks are out there and how quickly you can get wrapped up into an in-depth conversation. The hardware and software that is shown at this thing is so much fun to sit down and play with. You get to try it out. It's never as crazy as you think. It's not like it's wall-to-wall people. There's usually enough time where, you can, if you wait a few minutes, you'll have your turn on whatever product that you want to try out. The developers, last year, I had such a great time talking to all the developers I spoke to. Everybody was really nice, really forthcoming with information, really made it a great time. So again, I will be there this year, and I hope to see all of you guys there. I doubt I'm going to see all 37,000 of you guys, but it'd be cool if we did, or 34,000, whatever the hell how many we are. I can't remember where we're at now. Anyways, as always, my friends, I hope you guys are doing very well. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.